Hi everybody, it's Mel here again, getting ready for our Thursday night Pilates class. Thank you for joining us. Just a brief introduction because I know there's people on who have not done my classes before. So my name's Mel, I live in Panton Hill. My background is as an osteopath. I was an osteopath for 13 years and I'm non-practicing now, but I really enjoy teaching Pilates. And the reason I love Pilates is that it's a really done correctly, it's a really safe way for people to exercise and get strong within their bodies. And all sorts of people can do it, right? From 8-year-olds through to 80-year-olds I've taught in my classes, and there really is something for everybody in Pilates. Having said that, there are a few people that shouldn't be doing Pilates. Anyone who's got any acute injuries, anyone who has any hot or swollen joints, neurological pain, really recent surgery, and anyone who is heavily pregnant. So generally these classes they're okay for the first trimester and part the way through the second, but afterwards you're better to be in the prenatal specific Pilates class. So we are going to start the class off just by going over some of the Pilates, basics. I know my regular clients have heard all of this before, but we are going to go through it again just to make sure everybody's exercising safely. If you would like to, those regular clients, go through the plie series, then please do. I'm not going to do that again in the class. So while I'm talking through these basics, if you would like to do that, then you're welcome to. Pilates basics. So throughout the class, you'll hear me using terminology that you may not have heard before. And one of those things is the T-zone. So the T-zone is made up of 2 muscles, and those muscles are really integral to all of our Pilates exercises. And I ask them for you to switch them on before we start an exercise. And we want to hold them as long as possible. Now, that's not always easy at the start. It can be difficult to get the coordination to start off with, but that's okay. You do get better at it. The more you practice, the better you get. It's important that you only feel the exercises where I've told you should feel them. So if we're working on our abdominal muscles, that's where I want you to feel it. If we're working on our glutes, that's where I want you to feel it, or shoulders, wherever we might be working at the time. So if you're doing something and you're not feeling it where I said you should have felt it, or if you feel any pain in your back or in your neck, then just stop the exercise and wait for the next one to come along. It's hard in these sorts of environments for me to, obviously I can't check on your technique. Ideally would be in a class where I can come and check and make adjustments so that they suit you. But because that's not possible in this environment, just exercise safely. So the T-zone, made up of 2 muscles. And we talk about it as a T because we think about it as a T because it's made up of the pelvic floor, which represents the vertical part of the T, and the transversus abdominis, or the deep abdominals, which is the horizontal part of the T. So the pelvic floor, we switch those on by trying to imagine we're stopping ourselves going to the bathroom. And the horizontal part of the T, we think of as drawing our navel in towards your spine. And I'll cue those things over and over again throughout the class. So I'll say, switch on your T-zone, draw up your pelvic floor, draw your navel in towards your spine. And when I say those things, this is what I'm asking you to do. So we're going to have a practice of that now, just to make sure we've got it right in our heads as to how we do it. So we're going to be lying on our back. And what I would like you to do is to take your hands and find the bony parts at the front of your hip. And then I just want you to place your fingers to the inside of those bony parts where it's soft, and just gently press in. So we're going to think about that vertical part of the T first, the pelvic floor. I want you to inhale. And then as you exhale, all I want you to do is to squeeze the muscles that you would use to stop yourself from going to the toilet. And it's not coming from your glutes, so I don't want you to be squeezing your bottom. It has absolutely nothing to do with your glute muscles. This is a really internal muscle contraction, and it's quite a subtle. So you might not feel very much underneath your fingers happening, but you should be able to feel a very slight contraction. So we'll try that again. Inhale and exhale, draw up, pelvic floor. One more, inhale, release, and exhale, draw up. Very good. So let's think about that horizontal part of the T now, the deep abdominals. So the transversus abdominis, it starts in our lower back, wraps around through our waist, and attaches in through to the front, like a corset. And the way we activate it is thinking about drawing our navel in towards our spine. So we're going to work both parts of that T now. So let's breathe in through our nose. And then as we breathe out through our mouth, I want you to draw your pelvic floor up and then draw your navel in towards your spine. And what you should feel is that there's more work or more muscles coming up underneath your fingers. So let's try that again. Inhale, exhale, pelvic floor up, navel in. Good, and one more. Inhale, and exhale, pelvic floor up, navel in. Good. The other thing that we need to think about in Pilates is our spinal positions. So we use 2 spinal positions in all of our Pilates exercises. The first is neutral spine. So if we have a look at our spine here, so this is a model of our spine. And we have, this is the base of the skull, or the top of the base of the head behind our ears. This is our neck, our mid back, and our lower back. And we have normal curves in our spine. So we're supposed to have those curves. And for lots of reasons, you know, poor posture, weakness in through our tummy, for lots of reasons, these curves can get out of whack. And so if you've got an increased curve in your thoracic spine, then you'll end up with that sort of hunched forward position through your shoulders. But neutral spine, what we describe as neutral spine, is that natural curve in the lower back. So when we practice neutral spine, we make a triangle with our hands like this, and we place it on our pelvis with our fingers touching our pubic bone and our thumbs meeting in the middle. And when we've got a good neutral spine, if we were to sit up and look, our fingers and our thumbs should be nice and level. So if you're up on looking and your fingers are too high, it means that you've flattened your lower back, or you've flattened that lumbar spine. And if you're looking down and your thumbs are too high, it means that you've got too much curve in your lower back. So just make the adjustments that you need to try and get those fingers and thumbs nice and level. Imprinted spine is when we use those T-zone muscles, so the muscles that we were working before, to draw our spine towards the mat. Now, it's not a pressing of the spine into the mat from our bum. Okay, I can very easily squeeze my glutes and just press my spine in. That's not what we're talking about here. The glutes need to stay really relaxed, and what we're using is our tummy muscles. So let's try it out. Inhale through your nose, and then as you exhale through your mouth, pelvic floor up and navel in, and then draw the spine in towards the mat. And if you were to sit up and look now, you should see that your fingers are slightly higher than your thumbs, and that's your imprinted spine position. So we'll practice that a few more times. Inhale, release. Exhale, pelvic floor up and navel in. Inhale, release. Exhale, pelvic floor up and navel in. And inhale, release. Very good. So those are our T-zone muscles and, of course, our neutral and imprinted spine. So we're going to be using 2 bits of equipment in our class today. We're going to be using the small hand weights, and we're also going to be using the ball. Now, if you don't have these things, that's fine. These are 2 kilogram hand weights. We're going to be doing a few arm exercises with them later. If you don't have hand weights, you can use a can of peaches or something that you might have in the cupboard. Even if it's only 500 grams, you're still going to get a good workout through your arms, because we do a lot of repetitions. So if you have that, that's great. The other thing we're going to be using is a small ball. Now, these are Pilates balls. They're anti-burst, which means that you can put quite a lot of pressure on them and they won't burst. If you're using the balls that you've got just around the house that don't have that anti-burst, I wouldn't be putting your hips up on them. So we do a few exercises here where we actually lie on this ball. So I wouldn't use them for that section. You can just do that section without the ball underneath, and you can use the ball for between the knees, which we're doing with some of those exercises. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to start off with the ball between the knees. So let's all lie on our back with our knees bent up, and we're going to place that ball between the knees here. We've got our feet, knees and hips all nice and lined up. Our arms are relaxed by our side, and we're just going to do a bit of a body scan here, which we try and do before every exercise. So we want our chin to be slightly tucked in with the head resting. Our shoulder blades are wiggled down and back, And we've got a nice soft contact through the hands. So you shouldn't be gripping onto your mat or pressing through the hands. We've also got a soft contact through the feet. So you shouldn't be gripping with the toes or pressing through the feet at this stage. So we're going to interlace the hands, place them behind the head, down low, sort of at the top of the neck instead of higher up over the head. And then I want you to wiggle those shoulder blades down and back in that position. And we're going to get ready to do a curl up. So we're going to inhale, T-zone switches on first. So we're really retraining our brain to switch those T-zone muscles on first. Pelvic floor up, navel in towards the spine. And then as we exhale, we're going to lift the head, neck, and shoulders and look towards the ball and then squeeze the ball really hard between our knees. And then we inhale as we lower back down. Now, obviously, you don't have to do that with a ball. If you don't have a ball, just leave out the squeeze and just do the curl up. And exhale, lift and squeeze. And when we're doing these curl ups, they're not like curl ups that we would do at the gym, where we're sort of crunching and pushing our tummy muscles out. When we do these curl ups, we really want to feel as though we're drawing our belly in towards our spine. So when you sit up and look, try and feel as though that navel is drawing in instead of pushing out. And lift and squeeze. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze that ball nice and hard. Inhale, release. Exhale, curl up and squeeze. Inhale, release. So we should be feeling our inner thighs working here, but also obviously our abdominal muscles. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift. Inhale, release. Let's do 2 more straight ones. And inhale. And exhale. And we're going to curl up into an oblique curl next. So we inhale as we lower back down. This time as we exhale, we're going to lift and twist the body so that our shoulder faces or draws towards our opposite hip. So not the elbow coming across, the elbow stays wide. It's the shoulder that comes across. And then inhale as we come back to the center. And then exhale other side. And inhale back. So let's add in that ball squeeze as well. T-zone switches on. Draw the navel in, squeeze the ball and lift. Good, so we're working those inner thighs as well as these obliques. Don't forget the sequence. Make sure you're turning on those T-zone muscles before you lift. And make it really slow. Nobody should be rushing through these exercises. It's not about how many repetitions you can get in. It's about the quality of the movement. And if you're just crunching up as fast as possible, I can almost guarantee you're not switching on your T-zone correctly. You need to think about those muscles first. Otherwise, we're not doing Pilates. We're just doing curl ups at the gym. Inhale down. Exhale, curl up and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Let's do 1 more on the other side and then we'll have a rest. And exhale, squeeze and curl. And inhale, lower back down. Right, let's have a little rest there so you can leave the ball where it is and just straighten out the legs. And then reach the arms above the head and just let the tummy muscles rest and relax. And I want you to do a few long, deep breaths in there. I'm just going to grab a timekeeper because I've just realized I'm recording on my phone. And I don't have a watch to keep time. Nice, long, deep breaths, really expanding the rib cage. Allowing those tummy muscles to stretch out. So we're actually going to do another set of those now. And we are going to give people the option of making it slightly harder if they would like to. Now, if you found that challenging enough the way it was, you absolutely do not need to make it harder. That's absolutely fine. But if you would like to make it more challenging, we're going to bring the legs into tabletop. So if you're bringing your legs into tabletop, I want you to take the ball out from between the knees. T-zone switches on, press the spine into the mat. So we're imprint the spine first, and you must be able to maintain that throughout the exercise. One leg comes into tabletop, knee lines up with the hip, shin parallel with the ceiling, and then the other knee comes up as well. And then we can place the ball back between the knees, feet together, interlace the hands, place them behind the head. Wiggle the shoulder blades down and back so that we reset our posture. T-zone switches on. And then as we exhale, we squeeze the ball and lift. Good. Inhale, lower back down. So same as before. Exhale, lift. So this time the legs are up. Now your spine should be gently pressing into the mat. Your knees should be lining up with your hips, so they shouldn't be creeping further towards your body. Keep them in the correct tabletop position. And if you're having a lot of trouble doing that, it's probably a sign that you need to have your feet down, that you're not strong enough through your tummy for this exercise just yet, and that you can move on to it at a later time when you're a bit stronger. Don't forget to squeeze the ball. Good. One more up here, and then we're going to do the oblique curl again. Keeping the elbows wide. As we exhale, we're going to reach that shoulder towards the opposite hip. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the ball. Inhale back, other side. Exhale, lift. Inhale back. Exhale, lift. Inhale back. And lift. Let's do one more on each side. Tummy should be on fire. And back, last one. And back, very good. Take the ball out if your legs are up. Rest the feet. And then let's stretch again. Reach the legs out. Reach the arms above the head. Let the tummy muscles relax. A few long, deep breaths here. Allow those ribs to expand at the front. Very good. And we're going to bend the knees back up, and we're going to go into our shoulder bridge now. So I want you to keep the feet together and place the ball between the knees. Now, if you don't have a ball, you can keep your feet hip distance apart. So no need to put the feet together if you haven't got a ball. We're going to relax the hands by the side. So let's do our body scan. Chin is slightly tucked in. Shoulder blades are wiggled down. Spine starts neutral. So remembering what neutral means, you've got a normal natural curve in the lower back. The tailbone is on the mat. And if you were to make that triangle, you would have that nice evenness between the fingers and the thumbs. So you can check in with yourself every now and then and make sure you're doing that correctly. Shoulder bridge. So we're going to switch on our T-zone first. So inhale. And then as we breathe out, I want you to squeeze up your T-zone. And as you keep pressing through that T-zone, so that your spine imprints. So you press your spine into the mat nice and firmly. And then when you can't press it in anymore, I want you to feel as though you're drawing up from your pubic bone. So squeeze your bottom, press through the feet, and slowly lift the hips up off the mat, one spinal segment at a time. And so you've got one long line between the knees, hips, and shoulders. Then we breathe in at the top of our bridge, and then we breathe out and press back down. So the upper back needs to come down first. Then the mid back, pubic bone stays high. Then the lower back, pubic bone is still high. And then finally, when our entire lower back is resting, we can allow our pelvis to go back to that neutral position. And let's repeat. So inhale, exhale, draw in, and lift. So this exercise is really about control. I mean, it's hard work through the glutes and the tummy. But a lot of it is spinal mobility as well. So inhale at the top and exhale, press down. About trying to really press one segment down before the other. Stretching out those small muscles between our vertebrae. Trying to control that movement as we lower ourselves down. Now, if you would like to make it slightly harder, you can add in the squeeze of the knees. So T-zone switches on. As we exhale, we squeeze the ball first. Then we imprint the spine. And lift. Now this is really challenging, particularly on the inner thigh muscles, and it makes the whole exercise harder. So if you're squeezing that ball, inhale at the top and release. Exhale, re-squeeze and press back down. Inner thigh should be on fire. Tummy should be working. Inhale at the bottom, back to neutral. And exhale, press in. So draw the belly in towards the spine first. Lifting from the pubic bone. Lift, 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 slow and steady. If you've got that ball, inhale, release the ball. Exhale, re-squeeze the ball and press back down. Very good. Let's all do one more. Inhale. Exhale, draw in, press the tummy in, press it hard, 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 as much as you can before you start to squeeze the glutes. So the glutes is the last thing that you should squeeze before you start to lift. Inhale at the top and exhale, press back down. And inhale all the way to release. Very good. So we're just going to place that ball underneath our hips now. Now, like I said before, if you don't have a proper Pilates ball, or a ball that's anti-burst, don't do this next section with the ball. Just leave the ball to the side. Otherwise, we're going to lift up our hips and we're going to place the ball underneath our sacrum. That's really important that the ball is in the right spot here. So it shouldn't be in our lower back. So it's not in our lower back, and it's not almost falling off our coccyx bone. It's right in between those two hip bones, so right in the sacrum. And when you get it in the right spot, it actually should feel like quite a nice sensation, almost like a bit of a stretch. So lifting up the hips, placing the ball underneath the sacrum, and let's do that body scan again. Chin slightly tucked in, head nice and relaxed, shoulders relaxed and down, not pressing through the mat through our hands or feet. So we are going to move on to doing some leg extensions here. If your hips are down on the mat without the ball, is exactly the same, so it's not going to change. So we're going to keep our spine neutral, so we're not pressing our spine in towards the mat at this stage. T-zone switches on, and then as we breathe out, we're going to bring one leg into tabletop. So remembering, tabletop is when the knee lines up with the hip and the shin is parallel with the ceiling. And then what we're going to do is bring the opposite arm up with the palm facing inwards. And we're going to move those legs, that leg and that arm, away from each other. Now, if you find that balance is too difficult, you can just do this with the leg. So make sure your T-zone is switched on. I know it's hard to remember, but T-zone switches on first as you breathe in. And then as you breathe out, I want you to reach the arm and the leg away, taking care not to let the lower back arch. So only lower that leg as far as you can, keep your spine in neutral. Inhale to draw the leg back in, and then exhale, reach out again. Inhale, draw in, T-zone, T-zone, T-zone. Exhale, reach away. Good. Inhale, draw in, and exhale, reach. Making sure that if you're reaching your arm above your head, you're not taking your shoulder with you. So keep the distance between your ear and your shoulder nice and big so that you're not tensing up through the neck. It's also good if you can get a little bit of turnout of the leg as you're reaching, so that the inside of the knee faces toward the ceiling. And what that does is just takes you out a bit of your hip, from your hip flexor and into your glute. Because you are going to get tired hip flexors. Particularly if our tummies are weak, generally the front of the thigh tends to do a bit of the work instead of the tummy. So if you are feeling a lot of work in the front of the thigh, that's really normal, as long as you're feeling the work in the tummy as well. So if you're not feeling anything in your tummy and the front of the thigh is screaming, I want you to go back to making sure you're turning your T-zone on properly. Because if you're moving your leg and your T-zone is not on, it defeats the purpose of the exercise. So you can go back to the simple activations. Let's do one more on this side. Inhale, draw in, and exhale, reach. Good, and coming back. And we're going to move straight onto the other side. So lower that leg, lower that arm, and we're going to do the other side straight away. So let's reset our T-zone. And then as we exhale, the other leg comes into that tabletop position. Other arm comes up, palm facing inwards. Draw that shoulder down away from the ear before we start, so you're not tensing the neck. T-zone again, so check in, make sure you switched on. And then as we breathe out, reach the arm and the leg away. Slowly turning the leg out and lowering it. And inhale, draw in. Now, if you're one of my more experienced clients and you would like to try bringing both of your legs into tabletop, you can do so. You just need to make sure that you can imprint your spine and maintain that imprint. And we're only still just you moving the one leg, so we're not alternating legs. If both legs are up, it's just one leg moving. Inhale back, exhale, reach. Good. Let's do 3 more. Make sure that spine's not arching. So you need to keep your spine still. It shouldn't even arch a tiny, tiny bit. It needs to have our tummy switched on so that our spine doesn't move. Very good. Let's lower that arm and lower that leg. And we're just going to rest it for a minute. So for this next section, we're going to be bringing both of our legs into tabletop position. And this is when we use our imprinted spine. And then it's really important to use our imprinted spine through this exercise. So if you are finding at any point that you are unable to maintain that imprinted spine, I want you to bring those legs down, or at least one leg down, and just do one leg at a time. So there's no reason for you to try and push through using imprinted spine or having both of your legs up if you're not feeling it in the right spot. So you should be feeling this next exercise mostly in the tummy, probably a little bit in the legs. Shouldn't feel any pain in your lower back. And you should be able to maintain the proper position of the legs. So if you can feel that your legs are creeping further towards you because your tummy's really tired, that's a signal for you to put your feet down, have a rest, and you can come back up and try again, or do the easier version of the exercise. So let's have a go. T-zone switches on. So pelvic floor up, navel in towards the spine. Exhale, imprint. Bring one leg up, and then the other. Good. So we're going straight into toe taps here. So what we do with our toe taps is as we breathe in, we allow the knee and the foot to drop towards the mat without allowing our spine to arch. And that might not be very far. So you might be starting to reach that leg only a couple of inches before you can start to feel your spine move. And if that's as far as you can work, then that's completely fine. If you can touch your toe to the mat, then that's great too. You work within your own limits. So inhale as we lower and touch, or not. Exhale, come back. And I really want you to focus as you come back with that exhale in drawing that navel back into the spine strongly. Inhale, lower. Exhale, in. And again, inhale, other side. So we're alternating sides here. Inhale, lower. And exhale, back. Inhale. And exhale. So tummy should be working hard. And exhale. Now, if you're finding that's hard enough, I want you to just keep going with those toe taps. One more. Otherwise, we're going to make it a little harder. I want you to glue those knees and feet together. Now, T-zone switches on again. And then as you breathe out, I want you to reach both legs out nice and straight. Keep the spine imprinted, so don't allow the back to arch. Inhale, draw the legs back in. Exhale, reach again. Inhale, draw in. And exhale, reach. Let's do 3 more. And reach. And 1 more. And reach. And bring those knees back in. And bring them all the way to the chest. Grab hold of the knees and just gently rock. Just release that lower back off a little bit. Well done, guys. That was really good. One more exercise on the ball before we move on. Just a reminder to everybody that you should be feeling the exercises where I describe. So if at any point you're feeling pain in the back of the neck or in the lower back or anywhere else where you really shouldn't be, just leave the exercise out and wait for the next one. It's really hard in this environment for me to come down and check on people, obviously, to make sure they're doing it correctly. So if you're not sure you're doing it correctly, or if you're feeling it in the wrong spot, just leave the exercise out. We'll soon enough move to the next one. So we're going to bring both of those legs back down now. We're going to do our dead bugs. So body scan. Chin is slightly tucked in. Shoulders are relaxed and down. We're not pressing through the hands or the feet. Our feet and knees are in line with our hips. We're not turning our toes in or out, and we've got nice soft contact. So we're going to bring the legs back into tabletop again here, and the opposite arm. So same position as the first one that we did on the ball, except this time, instead of reaching out, we're going to allow the arm and the leg to fall out to the side. So as we breathe in, we allow the knee and the arm to fall out from the center line. And then as we breathe out, we bring them back to the middle. So inhale as we open, T-zone, T-zone, T-zone. And then as we exhale, draw that navel in strongly and bring the arms and legs back. Now, it's really important that you don't cheat with this exercise. So what does cheating look like? So that leg that's on the mat, the knee needs to stay still. So if, as your knee is falling out, that one is also falling out, that's cheating. So keep the leg that's on the floor still. Don't let the knee move. The other thing that people do is let their arm fall away to the mat and their knee only move an inch. So we don't want that to happen either. If you can only let your knee fall out 2 or 3 inches, then that's how far I want your arm to fall out. Doesn't matter if you're not allowing the arm and the leg to fall out heaps and heaps. What matters is that you're making sure you can keep your T-zone switched on. So inhale, open, T-zone, T-zone, T-zone. Exhale, navel in and bring the arm and leg back. So you should feel this in your tummy. You will probably feel it quite a lot in that leg that's up as well. As long as you're feeling your tummy working as well as the leg, that's okay. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, open. Exhale, back. 1 more. Inhale, open. And exhale, back. Very good. And rest the head leg. Rest the arm. We're moving straight to the other side. Reset our posture. Wiggle the shoulder blades. Relax through the shoulders and the neck. Exhale, the other leg comes up and opposite arm palm facing inwards. Draw that shoulder down away from the ear. Make sure you're not tensing up through the neck. Inhale as you allow the arm and the leg to fall out to the side. And then exhale, bring it back to the center. Make sure you're not cheating. So make sure that leg that's resting on the mat, make sure that knee stays nice and still. The other thing people do is they press like hell through the arm that's on the floor to try and stabilize. So we don't want that to happen either. It's our tummy muscles that are working to keep us from wobbling, not pressing through the mat. Inhale, open. Exhale, back. Inhale, open. And back. Let's do 2 more. Open. And back. And last one. And back. And rest the leg and the arm. And lift the hips up. Take the ball out, place it to the side. And let's stretch. 1 leg out straight, 1 leg bent. I want you to tuck the foot of the bent leg behind the straight knee. Grab onto the outside of the knee and gently bring that leg across, reaching the opposite arm out to the side. And it should feel like a nice stretch in through the lower back. Just very gently bringing that leg across. So moving on to the glutes next. And coming back to the center, and we're going to switch sides. So let that leg straighten, bend the other one up, and gently bring the knee across and stretch. And coming back to the middle. And we're going to do work on some glutes. Now we can use the ball for this next section. We don't absolutely have to. So if you don't have a ball, there's no need to worry. So we're going to lie ourselves along our side. And we want to have 1 long line between our head, shoulder, hips, knees and feet. And I find it's easiest to line ourselves up with the front of the mat. We're going to place the ball, if you have one, between the ankles. So we're going to place, or not so much the ankles, but the lower leg. So we're going to place the ball between the lower legs. We want to make sure our shoulders and our hips are stacked. Now, if you have shoulder soreness or pain and you can't lie on your shoulder that way, if you'd like to place a pillow underneath your head and have your arm out to the front like that, then you can do that if you want to. So we're going to start with our double leg lift. So in this position, we want to try and make sure we keep our hips stacked as much as possible. We don't want to end up rolling forward or backward, even as we lift our legs. And what we're working here is the side of the waist. So remember what I said at the start of the class, the transversus abdominis, or that deep abdominal muscles start in the lower back, wrap around through the waist and attach in through the front. So we're trying to work that side portion. So T-zone switches on, so pelvic floor up, navel in towards the spine. And then as we breathe out, we lift both legs. And then we breathe into lower, and we breathe out to lift. So we want to make sure that we're keeping the hips stacked even as we lift. So try not to fall back or forward as you're lifting those legs. And you're going to feel that inner thigh work. And then as we warm up with our glutes, we'll feel our glutes work as well. But before you lift, so every time before you lift those legs, you must turn on your T-zone. So T-zone draws up first, exhale, lift. Breathe in as you lower, breathe out as you lift. Good. Did you feel the side of the waist working? Let's lift the upper body now too. So without pressing really hard through the hand is there for support, but we're going to lift the legs and also fold the body, working through the side of the waist. Inhale as we lower ourselves back down, and exhale as we lift and squeeze. Try not to press too much through the hand. It's the side of the waist that's drawing that upper body up. And lower. 2 more. And lift. And lower. 1 more. And lift. And lower. Very good. So this time we're going to leave that upper body down. We're going to lift the legs. And we're going to squeeze the ball between the ankles. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, lower back down. Exhale, lift and hold. Hold it up high. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And rest. Very good. Bend the knees up. And we're going to take the ball behind that knee. So remembering, if you don't have a ball, that's okay. You don't need to have a ball for this next section. The ball does make it slightly harder. So if you want the challenge, go for it. If not, it's okay to do without. So we want to make sure our knees are out in front of us, but we still have a long line between our head, shoulders, hips, and feet. So we don't want our feet to be really far in front or outside of that line or really behind. We want our feet to be in line, and that keeps our spine nice and neutral. So squeezing our feet and heels together as we T-zone, so pelvic floor up, navel in, try and feel as though you're creating a gap between the waist and the floor. And then as you exhale, I want you to open the knees. So we're working the glute med here. Inhale, lower, exhale, open. And my ball disappeared. I'm not wearing good pants for ball tonight. Sometimes if you wear slippery tights, the ball doesn't stay where it's supposed to. So I'm going to do it without the ball. Exhale, open. Inhale, close. And open. And close. Good, 2 more. Excellent. Now we do little pulses with the knees. So open the knees and pulse it. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And close the knees. Then we lift the feet. So we have our feet in line with our bottom. Our lower thigh is resting on the mat. We still have our T-zone drawn up. So pelvic floor up, navel in. Try to feel as though you're creating a gap between the waist and the floor. You doesn't have to be a gap there, but I want you to get that sensation of drawing yourself away from the mat. And then as we breathe out, we open the knees. Good. Make sure as you're opening the knees that you're not letting that top hip roll back. So you can actually place your hand on that top hip. And as you open, you shouldn't feel that hand move at all. It's just the knees opening, just squeezing the glutes. Let's do 2 more. Exhale, open. Inhale, close. Exhale, open. And then those little pulses again. Hold it open and pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. And close and lower. Good. Breathe in and open the knees. Breathe out and reach the leg out long. So it's a nice long line between the head, shoulders, hips, knees, and feet. So I don't want your leg to be all the way out in front of you like this. It needs to be in line with the rest of the body. Reaching through the toes. Every muscle in that leg is switched on. Tiny circles. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's reverse the circle other way. Glute should be on fire. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift another inch and hold it. 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Very good. Feet back together. Close the knees And then we stretch our glutes. So now onto our back. We're going to fold that leg that we've just worked, fold the ankle over the knee, reach behind the leg and slowly bring it towards you. So you get a nice stretch in that glute that you've just worked. And make sure your stretches are nice and active. So I don't want you to just be holding one position. Really get the sensation that you have in that muscle and try and gently increase the stretch. Now, when you're doing this stretch, one way to do that is to just gently pull the leg that you're holding onto out to the side. And you should gently feel that stretch increase. Every time you breathe out, try and get another few millimeters of length out of that muscle. I'm just going to do a time check, guys. Keep stretching. Nice, long, deep breaths. Very good. I'm going to do that all on the other side now. So we're going to sit up, swing the legs over, line ourselves up again with the ball, which has disappeared. Here it is. Placing the ball back between the lower legs and getting ourselves lined up along the mat. So one long line between the head, shoulders, hips, knees, and feet. Trying to line yourself up with the front of the mat so you look like, so that you know that you're nice and even. T-zone still switches on here. Pelvic floor up, navel in towards the spine as you inhale. And then as you breathe out, we lift both legs. So we're folding at the waist. Now make sure when you lift the legs, they're not coming out in front of you. They need to stay in line with the rest of the body. So as you lift, the legs stay in line. Inhale as you lower, exhale as you lift. So you can make this harder by taking away that supporting hand. So you can either have the hand at the front for support, or you can place that hand on your hip, or you can place it on your thigh to make it more difficult. You can also not rest in between. So exhale, lift the legs. Inhale as you lower, but don't touch. Exhale, lift. Inhale, and lift. And lower. And lift. Good. Let's do one more, and then we're going to lift the upper body as well. So remembering, we're not pressing through the hand on the mat. As we exhale, lift the upper body. We're drawing ourselves up from our waist. Breathe in as you lower back down. Breathe out as you lift and squeeze. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. And lower. Good. Let's do two more. And one more. And lower back down. Very good. We're going to leave those upper body down now. We're going to exhale, lift both legs. And we're going to squeeze that ball between the lower legs. Squeeze 1, 2, 3. Inner thigh should be burning. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Inhale, lower back down. Exhale, lift. Try and lift 1 more inch and then hold it up. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Excellent. Bend the knees. And we're either going to take the ball behind the knee, squeezing it between our calf muscle and our hamstring, or if you've got slippery pants or you don't have a ball, you can do it without the ball. T-zone switches on, so we need to make sure we've got our head, shoulder, hips, and feet in line. Our knees are out in front of us. Hand is either at the front for support or it can be on the top hip. And then as we exhale, keeping that T-zone drawn away from the mat, we open the knees. There goes my ball. Inhale as you close. Exhale as you open. Make sure your top hip is not moving. So it doesn't actually feel like a lot of movement, especially when the feet are down. Inhale as you close the knees. Exhale as you open them. And every time before you open the knees, make sure you're switching on the T-zone. Trying to retrain our brain to use those muscles first before we use our bigger muscles, like our glutes in this case. Inhale and open. and close. Let's do some little pulses. So hold it open and pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, close the knees. And then we're going to lift the feet. So that bottom thigh is going to stay resting on the mat. Our feet are going to lift, but we still have them in line with the rest of our body. So they're not reaching out in front of us or behind us. Draw the waist away from the mat, with the T-zone as you inhale. And then as you breathe out, open the knees. Inhale as you close them. Exhale as you open them. So you should feel it in your glutes. Might feel it in your tummy as well, because we are switching on that T-zone. Primarily your glutes will be working. Open. Inhale, close. Make sure your feet are together. So your heels and the balls of the feet and the toes should be together. And then as you open, they stay together. You can even squeeze the heels a little bit as you open to increase the work in the glute. Although some of you may not need to increase the work, you might already be feeling plenty. Good. And open. And close. And then we're going to open and pulse. Open and squeeze the heels. And then pulse it. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close the knees and lower the feet. Good. All right, inhale, open. Exhale, reach the top leg out. We want to make sure that it's in line with our body. So it's not out in front of us. It's in line with our body. And the reason we do that is to get out of our hip flexor and more into our glute. So we're going to rotate circles now. That's a really small circle, guys. So you're not doing these huge circles where the hip is rocking back and forth. The torso and the pelvis stays nice and still. And it's a really small circle, like you're tracing a coin. So it's all in your hip. 2 and 1, and reverse the circle. Nice burning through that glute. Press through it, keep breathing. 4, 3, 2, 1. Just lift a little higher, and then we're going to hold 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Good, feet back together. Oh geez, close the knees. And then we're going to stretch that side out too. So let's turn onto our back. We're going to fold that ankle over the knee. So the one that we've just worked is lifted, and you might already have a stretch in that position. So if you get enough stretch there, that's fine. Just hold it there. Otherwise, I want you to reach behind that leg, grab behind the knee, and gently bring that leg closer towards you to feel that stretch through the glute. Remembering that you can increase the stretch by bringing the leg closer towards you, but also gently pulling it out to the side. Nice, gentle stretch through the glutes. Remembering to breathe, remembering to slowly increase. Good. A couple more breaths here. Very good. And resting those legs. So we're going to do another abdominal exercise while we're here, and then we're going to actually finish with our arm series in 4-point kneeling. So for this next section, we're going to start by bringing our knees into our chest. And we're going to slowly make this harder. So make sure you just work where you feel comfortable. Remembering you should only be feeling it where I say. So if this exercise, you should be feeling primarily in your tummy. Now for this exercise, there is a lot of chin tucking. So there is a lot of lifting your head up off the mat, which means that you might start to feel tired in your neck. So if you start to feel like you can't maintain your chin tuck, and that chin tuck is that consistent distance between the chin and the chest, as if you're holding a tomato between the chin and the chest. So if you can feel that work in the front of the neck, that's okay for a little while. But if you can't maintain that and you feel like your head is resting backwards, you can just do this exercise with your head down. So there's no reason to keep maintaining that chin tuck if it feels too uncomfortable. So we have one leg out straight, the other one stays bent, and we're going to bring this hand to the inside of the shin. We're going to get T-zone switches on. We're going to curl the upper body up. What we do here is we switch. So we inhale as we switch legs, and then as we breathe out, we reach out long. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. So a little faster. So you can see here my head and neck is lifted. I'm looking towards my feet or my knees, but I'm not changing that upper body. So I'm keeping the upper body up as I'm switching. So you shouldn't be lowering as you switch. So we're going to make it a little harder by extending both legs. So one leg out straight, both legs out straight, and we breathe in as we switch, and then we breathe out as we huff, huff. So now if that looks too hard, or you don't have the flexibility in your hamstrings, you can just continue with the previous level. Good, and 4. And 3. And 2. Last one. And rest. Well done. Beautiful work. Just breathe and rest. So we're going to come up and do a couple of stretches now before we do our last series of arm exercises with our hand weights, or whatever it is you've been able to figure out for some sort of weight. So we're going to come up into a sitting position, and we're going to start with a spiral stretch. So we have one leg out straight, the other is bent in, and we have our reaching our arms up towards the ceiling here. We're going to turn our body so that we're facing the bent knee, not the straight knee, the bent knee. And then as we exhale, we're going to very slowly reach the body over the straight knee. This hand, so the bottom of the hand can come to rest on the leg. And what I want you to feel is the stretch in the side of the waist. So as we inhale, we exhale and reach a little further. So we inhale and gently twist the torso back towards the bent knee. And then as we exhale, we slowly reach further over the straight knee. You shouldn't feel any back pain with this exercise. You might feel a slight stretch. But you should feel mostly stretching the side of the waist and in the inner thigh. So gradually and slowly increasing that stretch. And then we're going to come up. We're going to go into that inner thigh stretch. Now, there's quite a lot of work on our inner thighs today, so making sure that we lengthen them out and keep the feet pressing back. So we don't want to have our feet rolling in when we do this. Keep the feet pressing back. Slowly walk the hands forward as far as it's comfortable. Now, it might not be very far before you start to feel that stretch in the inner thigh. Everybody's anatomy is a little bit different. Everybody's flexibility is a bit different. So it doesn't matter what I look like or what anyone else looks like. Work within your body. As long as you can feel that lovely stretch, or not so lovely stretch in the inner thigh, that's fine. Nice deep breaths. Very good. Walk the hands back, and then we'll switch legs. So we're going to do a spiral stretch on the other side. We'll fold that leg in. Reach the leg, arms up towards the ceiling. Twist the body so that we're facing the bent knee, not the straight knee, the bent knee. And then gradually reach both arms over the straight knee. The arm that's lower can come to rest on the leg. Every time you inhale, try to twist the torso back behind towards the bent knee. And then every time you exhale, try and stretch over the straight knee. So inhale and exhale and reach. Slowly increasing that stretch. Remember, you shouldn't feel any back pain here. Should be stretching the inner thigh and the side of the waist. Very good. And slowly coming up. And we're getting ready to do our arms now. So we're going to come into 4-point kneeling. We only need one weight here. So you don't need to have both or 2 weights, just one is fine. And we're going to come into 4-point kneeling. So 4-point kneeling is when we have
Our hands lining up underneath our shoulder blades, our knees lining up underneath our hips, and we have a gentle pressing away of the mat. So we're not allowing ourselves to, I'm just trying to think if this is the better position for me to be in. I think it is. So we're just making sure we're not allowing ourselves to sink in. So you need to lift, keep your chest lifted, press away from the mat, and that becomes even more important as you get tired with this exercise. So as this gets harder, your technique or your form is going to get harder to maintain, but you really need to maintain it. So if you feel like you can't maintain your form towards the end of these sets, just place the weight down and do it without the weight, because that's when injuries happen when we're trying to push through muscle failure, basically. So our first exercise is going to be a row. So what I want you to do is to take the weight into one hand and hover it just off the mat a little. And I want you to draw that shoulder down and back so that it's a nice distance between your ear and your shoulder. There shouldn't be any tensing of the upper trapezius or those neck muscles here. We're focusing our effort on the lower part of the shoulder blade. So feel as though you're trying to draw that lower part of your shoulder blade back towards your spine. So T-zone switches on, inhale, pelvic floor up, navel in. And then as we exhale, we draw that weight. Keeping the elbow close to the body. Try and get the elbow past the body as well. Inhale, lower, exhale, lift. Inhale, lower, but don't touch. And lift. 3. And 4. And 5. Make sure you're not tensing your neck. Keep the shoulder away from the ear. Keep pressing away from the mat with the hand that's on the mat here. Don't let yourself sink in on that shoulder. And 2. And then 1, we hold it up. And we do tiny little pulses with the arms. So pulse. And 2. And 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. Second set. Inhale, lower. Exhale, pull. So where should you be feeling this? You should feel it in your shoulder blade of the arm that's moving. You'll probably feel that supporting arm through the shoulder as well and through the chest, and that's okay. You shouldn't be feeling it in your neck. You shouldn't be feeling it in your lower back. Draw the shoulder down, so not up, down. Let's do those pulses again. Lift and hold and pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good. Transfer the weight back to the other hand. And we're going to do that all on the other side. So T-zone switches on. We're going to glue that arm into our side so that it's nice and still. Oh no, sorry, we're doing our row first. So T-zone switches on. And then as we breathe out, we'll lift that weight, draw our shoulder blade down and back and our elbow past our body. So inhale, lower, exhale, lift. 2. And 3. And 4. Make sure that T-zone is switched on. Make sure you're pressing through that supporting hand. And try and imagine that you've got a glass of water in the center of your back that you can't spill. So there shouldn't be a big arch or curve in that back. We're trying to have a nice neutral position through our spine. So remember those spinal curves that I talked about at the start of the class. Little pulses here. Pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do our last step. And then we're going to move the tricep extensions for the last exercise of the class. 2. And 3. And 4. Press away from the mat. Don't let your head reach towards the mat. Keep your head in line with the rest of your spine. And 2. And pulses. So keep the eyes looking down towards the hand, not looking away. 3, 2, 1. Very good. Transfer the weight back to the other hand now. Last exercise of the class. I know that your arms are tired. We are almost there. So this time, we're going to glue our elbow into our waist here. So this part of the arm, the upper arm doesn't move. All we're doing here is straightening the elbow. So we're doing a tricep extension. And this is when you will start to feel muscle failure. So when you feel muscle failure, you won't be able to do the technique properly. You won't be able to get that arm straight. And what people tend to do is do all kinds of crazy things with their upper body to try and compensate. So if you get to that point, just put the weight down and do it without the weight. Because you've already worked that muscle to its failure point. You're already going to get stronger in that muscle. No point in trying to push through and risk injuring yourself with poor technique. So we'll glue that elbow into our side. T-zone switches on as we inhale. As we exhale, we straighten the arm for 1. and 2, and 3. Make sure the eyes are looking down towards the hand that's supporting you. Make sure that you're pressing gently through that mat. Try to make sure that glass of water in the center of the back doesn't spill. 2, good. And the pulses, we hold the weight out straight and we just lift. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last set. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Almost there. Get that shoulder away from the ear. Hold it up straight and lift. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Almost there. Last set. Readjust that shoulder. Make sure it's in the nice right spot. T-zone switches on. Spine is nice and neutral. Head is in line with the rest of the spine, gently pressing away from the mat. Glue the other elbow into the waist. T-zone switches on. Exhale, straighten for 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold it out straight and then lift. 8, 7, 6, 5. Make sure that shoulder's away from the ear. Don't tense the neck. And last set. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost there. 5, 6, 7. Hold it out straight and lift. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Well done. Press back in a child's pose. Bend the elbows and reach the hands towards the shoulder blades. And you can walk your elbows a little further away from you. And you should get a nice stretch in through the shoulder blades. So feel elongate, rest. We're going to do a cat stretch and then a roll up. Coming into a cat position. You're going to inhale, press away from the mat, roll the belly in. Curl that back into a C shape. And then as you breathe out, reverse. Exhale. Allow the tailbone to loosen. Allow the back to sink. Eyes look away. And try and feel that stretch in the tummy. Inhale, draw the tummy up, press away. And exhale, reverse. Good, one more. Inhale, draw up. And exhale, release. And we're going to roll up to finish guide. Coming back into our haunches. Walk the hands back towards the feet. And if you can't do a crouch position, you can just start from here. T-zone switches on. As we exhale, lower the heels to the mat. Eyes look back past the knees. Allow the legs to straighten. And then once the legs are straight, just do a few long deep breaths. And as you exhale now, we're going to roll up. So you roll your tummy in and feel as though you're pressing yourself up to straight. So not just standing up straight, pressing yourself up to straight, forearm your tummy. Try and stack the spine one segment at a time. Slowly but surely. Tummy in, until finally our head sits on top of our spine. And we roll the shoulders back. Finish. Well done. Good job, guys. Excellent work. Thanks for coming along. I hope you enjoyed that. I think what I'm going to do on the weekend is film a couple of classes during the day. It's hard to get the light right in here, and then I can't zoom in on properly for you to be close enough to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to have a go at filming some classes on the weekend with more natural light and see how that goes. But this video, along with the other two that I filmed so far, will be on the YouTube channel. which I posted on my Facebook page. So if you would like to do this class or any of the other classes again, you can feel free to visit the Facebook page or the YouTube channel, and they'll be uploaded there. Any feedback or any issues that you had with the class tonight, just let me know. I'm happy to hear it all, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon. I hope you're all keeping healthy and well. Bye.